Hi, good evening. Today is May 19th. S&P 500 tested 4175 level yet again yesterday for the second time in the last couple of days, and the level failed to break up again, and we sold off to 4150, which Victor calls a Soja level. And once that level broke, the other Soja level, which was 100 points lower, was in play, as we mentioned last time. And we traded this morning just a few points above it. 40.55 level that was held overnight, and we bounced in the morning and bounced some more on Fed minutes. Even though Fed minutes said that they are starting the discussion of tapering in the next few meetings, I guess the market is not taking them seriously and thinking they're still not going to taper anytime soon, depending on the economy, basically. And we closed down only 15 points, trading around 4,100. So basically, I think it's a trader's market right now. We have very wild swings up and down. So what I'm doing is I'm just trading levels at the extreme of the range. And until we break out one way or the other, it's really is a trader's market.
That's what
And
the options positions, OCC options positions are showing as well, that in the range that we are right now, that we should expect more chop, more volatility below that 4139 level. But above that level, we would expect volatility to decrease and maybe a grind upward. But below that level, we should expect more chop, is what this analysis is showing.
right, and Nasdaq was the leader today, and it actually closed up a few points after testing the 13,000 level again. So yeah, the same thing, very choppy range, but
it was also fairly a little bit more bullish, even in the, well, maybe about the same in the Russell 2000. And that sounds pretty. This is weighted daily chart, but the very similar to the Nasdaq as well.
right, and depending on what time of day do you look at the closed bonds, today we're down again a little bit. So according to Victor's charts, we have a third day in a row of a red day, which is funny. The same thing happened as last week. Last week we had 3 days in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of red, and today, same thing, third day of red in a row. So it usually has bullish implications, at least for a shorter term. So I think a tradable bounce is probably put up today, but I wouldn't say it's all clear for all-time highs.
So obviously the big action today was in the crypto market. And so we can take a look at that.
Right. Bitcoin, if you look at Bitcoin, it had over 50% pullback from the highs to today's low. And the low today was around 30,000. And it so quickly recovered to 40,000 that you really didn't even have an opportunity to buy, because on top of this, lots of exchanges were down. It was a bit chaotic. Coinbase was also down at some times of the day. But if you're able to catch the bottom, that was a good $10,000 trade up. The volatility in crypto today was insane.
It was incredible. And as I was discussing with Yelena, I was able to capture on some of the decentralized exchanges online, which they're generally not going to go down the same way that a Coinbase will go down, because it's not a website. It's managed by the let's say Ethereum network. In this case is what I use, where I did some liquidations, and you can do that through the decentralized exchanges, and you can be the one that's doing the liquidating when it drops below a certain level. And there will be certain positions that will be tagged as, you can liquidate this, and you can get anywhere from, let's say, an 8 to 15% bonus. Basically, you're getting it at a discount. So even though you may think that let's say Bitcoin or Ethereum's at a great price to get some Ether at 2,000. If you can get another 15% discount, so get it for 1700 if you're catching that bottom effectively. But it's it takes a little bit of setup to do, and it's something that maybe we can go into detail sometime on that. It's too late to talk about it now. Probably the opportunity has passed, but it's good to prepare for that when times are more bullish, because the bear days will return. But Bitcoin, as Yelena said, it tapped 30,000, and what we were talking about a couple of days ago when Bitcoin was back here was that it was my, I would say gut, but just my intuition, given the fact that Bitcoin really hadn't touched its 200-day moving average since May of last year, when it was emerging from the crash that everything experienced in March. And so it crossed that 200-day moving average and hasn't looked back. And in my view, even in a bull market, that's kind of unhealthy. That it should be tracking a little bit more reasonably. And so today it did hit that 200-day moving average, and right now it's trading just under it by about 800 points, $800 per Bitcoin. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad place to be. I would expect that maybe it's going to chop around for a few days. I actually don't know how healthy it would be to rally right back up to its highs, because that might be kind of a dead count kind of bounce. And I would prefer for it to consolidate a little bit, maybe grind higher, get back above 200-day moving average. But I think the next test is this support that it broke through. And when it broke through that support, it was really just a steady track down. And that support was going back. It was really this support line that where it broke through back in, I guess, January, and it's been bouncing above that support line. There's some people who have called this a head and shoulders top. I don't think it meets that classic definition, just by the shape, and it's also too flat and too broad. But it's not. It wasn't the most bullish pattern up here, and so it did break down. But if it can get back above the support level, then that's actually very bullish.
Right.
But
today, the whole Bitcoin army came out strong in favor of buying the dip. Everybody on Twitter and CNBC, it was a full blast attempt to stop this route, and they so far have succeeded. How long it would last, I don't know. Like you said, potentially we will sell off a little more to retest how strong those diamond hands are, right? Today, Tom Brady tweeted, "We're buying the dip." Novograd said that crypto felt like capitulation. Michael Saylor said that all 111,000 of Bitcoin he hasn't sold Bitcoin forever. Elon Musk said that Tesla has diamond hands. And, for people who don't know, diamond hands is one of those terms for Wall Street bets, holding forever, something like that. And so pretty much everybody was tweeting that they're not selling, that they're buying. Although Elon Musk got lots of hate comments under his diamond hands tweet, which I saw, because he bashed Bitcoin just a few days ago, saying that it's not environmental, it's using coal or whatever. And so that's allegedly what caused this original sell-off to begin with. And so now people are really mad at him.
Yeah. So it's I'd say the negative news was, of course, China announcing that they do not consider cryptocurrency transactions to be legal or legal tender. At least it's a little bit hard to figure out exactly what they're saying. It's one thing to say something's not legal tender, and it's another to say that it's illegal. And so it's not exactly clear what they were saying. But still, it was one of these things that actually it seems like every 3 or 4 months there's some people, another term, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, that will come out about China or India or some other country. They want to take action against cryptocurrency, but it's just, there is an adoption issue with Bitcoin, but it's a question of whether it's the real value to someone like Michael Saylor or MicroStrategy or Tesla is that it's an alternative holding in their treasury, and it's a kind of liquid cash alternative. Digital gold, maybe some people would call it, but it is a liquid cash alternative that is a store of value. So Ethereum's of course a little bit different. It's not doesn't have the same quite use case, is how I would put it. That it's more of a platform for programmable money, and so it's rallied quite a bit. It rallied quite a bit against Bitcoin here in the past.
A few times, we mentioned that it was a bit too extreme. The rally in the last couple of weeks was a bit too extreme, and today Ethereum gave back pretty much all of that rally that happened in the past couple of weeks and traded below 2000. So selling off way over 50% since the top.
Right.
Just
yeah, and that's pretty amazing. Yeah, but it's more volatile because it's a newer asset. Bitcoin launched in 2009. Ethereum launched in 2015. So it's 5-year-old asset, nearly 6-year-old asset, and it has some uncertainty about it because there's a proposal that will most likely go into place in July that would make Ethereum more or less a deflationary currency, where the supply will go down slightly over time. And then there's the conversion to proof of stake, which will likely happen by Q1 of next year. So these are not, they haven't yet happened. And until they happen, it's just uncertainty about this. But I would suggest that it's in a little, its chart pattern at least is a little bit more bullish, despite the fact that it pulled back more than Bitcoin today. And it's down about 20% today versus the 13. Let's see. Yeah, actually it was, now it's saying 8% for Bitcoin today, but Bitcoin had been on this steady track down, whereas Ethereum until just a week ago was at above 4,000. So
Ethereum hasn't touched the 200-day moving average.
Right, it's still way above, and it's right now sitting at its 50, which Bitcoin has been below its 50 for at least a week. So the other thing, though, that I would say is that Bitcoin is well below this support line that I mentioned earlier, whereas a similar support line for that breakout from December, January, that is still nicely above that. And whether or not this is sustainable or not, that's to be seen, but it's still above that level, and it did tap that support line several times, and it held, and then it also held this breakout point from April, which is I considered this the more important level, and it was hovering at this for most of the day, and I think that the big test for it, just as Bitcoin is at the bottom of that support line, for Ethereum, it's this level of about 3,200, maybe just above 3,200, 3,220, where it's that was the sort of the final parabolic rise, or the final rise, where it appeared to jog around it and it wasn't clear that it would continue rallying, and it did, and topped out around the 4,300. So I think that this range will have to be tested. Can either get to that level again, and if so, how quickly? But it's got some. All of crypto has some work to do right now. And
right. I would expect that it's going to trade a little up and down for the next couple of days at least.
The next couple of days at least, I would actually expect. This is what's interesting, is that if you go back, and so So, okay, so just let's say go use a monthly chart just to give some idea of how far things have come. The idea is that if you do go back to like 2017, the top there was it was an event. It was a moment in time, and this was really it this line here is right under the 1,000 level, and so it spent less than about 20 days above the 1,000 level. This is Ether, and Bitcoin had already topped out back here in December. Whereas what we've seen here is we saw this sudden breakout above 1,000, and then it's been a fairly steady rise. And but it's a much more mature platform right now, and there's actually products that are being built on it now. Unlike back here, where the only thing that was really happening in 2018 was ICOs, these initial coin offerings that were very speculative and people jumping in on the latest ICO. And that's the only reason they were buying Ether, so they can participate in the ICO market. Whereas here, there's decentralized finance, there's things like NFTs and some of these other things that you can actually do, and that you can make money. You can use some of these financial platforms, and it's not just purely speculative. So,
unlike some other coins, which Dogecoin, for example, we warned again many times, that is purely speculative thing that should be maybe traded at the best, but never invested in the longer term. Traded as low as 25 cents today, and last time I checked was at 35 cents. And I feel like we live in the golden age of Ponzi schemes, and there are certain coins that are literally set up like Ponzi schemes. For example, SafeMoon. Dave Portnoy, a famous Twitter personality, founder of Barstool Sports, he even tweeted that a couple of days ago, I think, that he purchased 40,000 worth of SafeMoon. And he said, I have no idea how this works. I like the word moon because that's where I want to go. But when I looked into it, SafeMoon charges sellers a fee of 10% if they choose to sell, and then redistributes 5% of those fees to the current holders. So literally like a Ponzi scheme setup. And he just invested it because he just wants to invest into some random coins, which are called, well, starting with the word S and ending with the word T coins, just because they're not popular yet. So he kind of even admits that they're Ponzi schemes, and he's trying to invest at the ground floor of the Ponzi scheme. He claims nobody recommended it. He just found it by himself. But this kind of irresponsible stuff with Elon Musk and Dave Portnoy, what gets people in trouble with investing into Dogecoin and SafeMoon now, and what's that other dog coin, Shibu something coin?
Shiba Inu, or then there's a Shiba something else.
Right.
Shiba Inu or Shiba Inu, and
right. So,
but I guess my thought on that is, yes, you can do very well on some of these, on some new coins that are not well known, but here's a thought about how to approach that rather than a lot of these, they are orchestrated by different pump groups that, just like for penny stocks, and it's just like for penny stocks, or there are pump groups that they'll find some company that, they've got some whatever green building, awnings or something like that, that people will have to buy, and there'll be huge market for it, and it may be a legitimate company, but the stock is trading for fractions of a penny, and they'll pump it by creating this story, and then people will jump on for momentum. It's just like that. But the better way, and so it takes a little bit harder, but then you can be a little bit more confident that it's a good to hold for a longer term, not just a pump, is you get to know some of the communities but for some of the legitimate coins like Bitcoin and some of the others. And there are people that will start projects, and you come to know, well, who you can trust and who you can't. It takes a time, it takes some study and some getting to know people, but then it's like you're investing with a good team instead of just jumping on the latest thing. So it's maybe that's more my style to do that, where if you're going to invest, then are we going to put money away for something, let's say for a few months at least, then you get to know the team and you get to know who's doing it, and they've got a great idea. And then when more people learn about it, then it'll ramp up, and it might have very little value in the beginning, but you'll catch a good wave. But you have to get to know some people, and then you'll learn about these things. And that's, by the way, how Elon Musk, I'm sure that he's very well connected with some of the top crypto people. And when I say top crypto people, I mean the people that have a lot of wealth that from buying Bitcoin early or whatever. And they're the ones that are doing something like pumping a dogecoin. So if you want to be like Elon Musk, I would say don't necessarily do what Elon Musk says, but do what he does, which is he built the network that he can rely on, and he's learning about these things from that network, rather than that's a better way to do it. You do exactly what he did, or Mark Cuban, or any of these other people. They're learning about these things from their network.
Well, thank you, Andy.
Thank you. And I would say that I think that just general, I think that there's some work to do for crypto, but I think it's it ended the day in not a horrible place. At least Bitcoin wasn't at 30,000 toward the end of the day, but I think there's a lot of chop and a lot of work to do over the next few days, and so we'll see. We'll learn more about it on Friday.
Yep. See you Friday. Thank you very much for the update.